Hey everyone, welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating concept. We're looking at a biological metaphor, but applied to an entire country. The arteries and nerves of a nation. You know, just like your own body completely relies on veins and a nervous system to literally survive, a massive, geographically diverse place like India relies on this incredibly intricate web of physical and digital networks just to thrive. We're going to break down exactly how this chapter of geography translates into the real world.
So let me start off by asking you a quick question. How exactly does your morning tea reach you? I mean, it seems like such a simple, everyday routine, right? But think about it. The tea leaves from some distant hill station, the milk, the sugar, heck, even the cup you're holding right now. Literally none of it originated in your kitchen. Bringing all those individual items together requires this incredibly complex, perfectly synchronized logistical dance just to get from fields and factories right to your table.
Okay, let's dive into this. When you look at the sheer scale of Indian traffic, what might just look like a chaotic, bustling reality of daily movement on the streets is actually a highly organized, vital lifeline. It's the literal physical manifestation of supply meeting demand on the ground. It's what keeps a massive economy breathing day in and day out.
To make sense of all this movement, here is our roadmap for today. 1. India's vital lifelines. 2. Dominating the land. 3. By water and air. 4. The hidden networks. And finally, number 5, connecting the masses.
All right, Section 1, India's vital lifelines.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how a nation of this size actually categorizes movement. The entire transportation ecosystem basically breaks down into 3 main arteries: land, water, and air. Now, land splits up into roads, railways, and pipelines. Water divides into inland and oceanic routes, and air, well, that separates into national and international flights. Think of this as the structural blueprint we're going to use today to understand the whole shebang.
Moving right along to Section 2, Dominating the land. Now, I really want you to notice the stark disparity here because it's absolutely crucial. National highways make up a tiny, almost microscopic 2% of the country's total road length. But get this, they carry a staggering 40% of all road traffic. Meanwhile, rural roads make up a massive 80% of the network, but they often really struggle with poor connectivity and tough terrain. So the entire national economy basically balances on the incredible concentrated pressure placed on that tiny 2% of highways to keep commerce flowing smoothly between major hubs.
And conquering that tough terrain, well, that requires absolute engineering marvels. This is totally spearheaded by the Border Roads Organization, or BRO. Take the world's highest motorable road, or look at the Atal Tunnel. This is a 9.02-kilometer stretch built at a staggering altitude of 3,000 meters above sea level. I mean, wow. It is a literal game changer that keeps vital high-altitude regions like the Lahaul-Spiti Valley connected all year round, even through heavy snow.
Okay, so beyond roads lies the colossal Indian railway network. It's actually one of the longest in the world, divided up into 17 distinct zones. But the true logistical masterpiece here is how they manage completely different track widths simultaneously. You've got broad gauge at 1.676 meters, metro gauge coming in at exactly 1 meter, and the narrow gauges, which are usually 0.762 or 0.610 meters, specifically designed for hilly terrain. Honestly, keeping this massive system running flawlessly across all these different gauges is just an immense undertaking. And speaking of immense undertakings, the Konkan Railway is the absolute ultimate example of conquering difficult geography. Built back in 1998, this 760-kilometer route runs right down the western coast. And the crazy thing is, it doesn't just bypass obstacles, it cuts straight through them. We're talking crossing 146 rivers, nearly 2,000 bridges, and blasting through 91 tunnels. All of this just to provide a highly efficient, not to mention breathtaking, link between Mumbai and Mangaluru.
All right, that brings us to Section 3, by water and air.
You know, long before we had railways, rivers were the main highways, and even today, India still utilizes roughly 14,500 kilometers of navigable waterways. You've got National Waterway 1 on the Ganga stretching all the way to Prayagraj, NW2 on the Brahmaputra, and of course, NW3 flowing through the beautiful Kerala backwaters. Water transport remains hands down the cheapest, most fuel-efficient, and eco-friendly way to move heavy cargo inland.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is that massive 95% chunk dominating the trade volume. A staggering 95% of India's foreign trade moves through its oceanic routes. With a massive coastline over 7,500 kilometers long, supported by 12 major ports, these seaways aren't just a nice alternative. They're absolutely the backbone of international commerce for the country.
Now, contrasting that slow, steady pace of cargo ships, we've got the rapid speed of air travel. It actually began pretty humbly in India back in 1911 with just a tiny 10-kilometer mail flight. But today, it's all about nationwide accessibility. Initiatives like the Udaan scheme, which basically translates to making regional flying affordable for the common citizen, are actively connecting remote and regional areas to the mainstream economy way faster than ever before.
Next up, Section 4, the hidden networks. For this one, I really want you to focus on this number, 18,500 kilometers. We are talking about the specialized hidden arteries of the nation, the pipelines. They are incredibly efficient for transporting fluids and natural gases across super long distances. India's gas infrastructure has literally exploded since Asia's first cross-country pipeline was built over in Assam. It's expanded into this massive 18,500-kilometer web that silently powers industries, fertilizer plants, and homes across the entire nation, without you ever even seeing it.
And finally, Section 5, connecting the masses.
This is where we pivot from moving physical things to moving thoughts, data, and culture, the true nerves of the nation. Walk with me through this timeline for a second. We started out with beating drums and animal messengers. Then we evolved to the post and telegraph. We saw the arrival of radio in 1923 and television in 1959. And today, well, we have the internet. This massive digital network doesn't just send emails, it acts as a huge central warehouse of data that drives modern e-commerce and financial transactions. It effectively shrinks the vast, sprawling geography of India right into the palm of your hand.
To really understand the impact of all this infrastructure, we kind of have to look past the steel, the concrete, and the fiber optics. As Mahatma Gandhi noted regarding the railways, quote, brought people of diverse cultures together to contribute to India's freedom struggle. You see, these networks don't just move goods from point A to point B. They physically, economically, and culturally unify a massive, incredibly diverse nation.
Which brings us to a final thought to leave you with. We've seen how roads, rails, shipping lanes, and digital webs have evolved to shrink space and time across the country. So as digital and physical networks continue to merge even further, what will be the next great leap in how we connect? I hope this explainer has given you a whole new appreciation for the hidden lifelines all around you. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time.